Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Sorry about the delay. We did intend to start. We had good intentions when we set the 20-minute timer, but Samwise12, well known for his tea breaks.
Had to grab a quick pick-me-up.
I don't know what. Like, Zura says to him, "You ready? You'll be ready in 20?" As soon as we'd finished, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." And here we are, nearly 30 minutes later. So, sorry about that. But we ought to flip the switch over. The score is not 2-0. Let's fix that. The score is currently 0-0. This matchup is, of course, Samwise12 versus PrinceofKabul. Two fairly large names. Looks like Sam is ready. Prince is ready. Japan versus France will be our first match on Bengal.
Can you ask for anything any better?
Yes, you can. You can have
mirror. Oh my god, I'm in heaven right now.
Have you got?
I'm so happy.
How about this? You guys ready?
All right.
We're doing it.
Let's do it.
Level 38, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Summer Championships Sunday stream. This is series number 2 of the day, our second set. We have two very big names indeed for this one. Samwise12 versus PrinceofKabul. Just a moment ago, Samwise was hovering over French. Thought we were going to see Samwise playing French. Not a civilization. He's very good with the tool and has absolutely no experience with. Yeah, no, I'm joking, of course. Sam pioneering the way for French in the early days. But not playing French here. Actually going to take a Japan mirror versus PrinceofKabul. A last-minute switch, having been sort of readied in as France for the entire time that we were sort of waiting for the game to begin. And looks like at the last moment has decided that actually Japan is his choice of civilization. Certainly Sam, a good player with Japan as well. Certainly well-versed with all civilizations. But here he is, spawning on the left-hand side of the map in the colour orange today, laying down his early consulate right about now. Nice and early, of course, wants to get the Portuguese alliance so he can make shrines cheaper and stack that with, of course, the Heavenly Kami shipment and the Toshogu Shrine. In fact, both players will likely be doing that unless we see something funky. We'll have to keep an eye out. But, yes, here we have PrinceofKabul, his opponent, spawning in the right-hand side of the map in the colour red. Unfortunately, these two colours are fairly similar, but hopefully that will not prove too much of a problem. Look at that! Delicious kiwi fruit worth 100 food, Zuta.
Yeah, there's actually so many good treasures. There's the 100 food treasure right here. Sam just picked up a 50 wood treasure right up here, and there's a 90 wood treasure as well right here. So some really key treasures. And of course, every civ can benefit from wood treasures and food treasures, but in this particular mirror, it is a great way to snowball yourself into a very dominant position, and we're seeing that starting to shape up here right away. Sam's already picked up 1 wood treasure, going to be able to pick up this wood treasure uncontested, and similarly, PrinceofKabul definitely has eyes on this 100 food treasure, currently taking a little bit of a pit stop to pick up this 40 coin treasure while he builds his shrine, but then I fully anticipate him to swing back around and pick up that other treasure as well. So
looks like we're going to be taking a moment. Of course, PrinceofKabul very entitled to take a pause if he needs one. I'm not sure what's gone wrong. Stuff can happen, but yeah, 90 wood and 50 wood. Samwise going to be very happy about that indeed. Of course, using his last explorer there to finish off the tiger because he is, aware that he does need to get that shrine down before he maxes out on currently on 10 population out of 10 population. Does still have a villager in queue, but once this one finishes building, he won't have any population space to queue the next one, and there for that reason must make sure he gets his shrine down there. So he's just going to use the 1 monk to finish off the tiger whilst that shrine goes down, so he can make sure his town centre is not idle. PrinceofKabul likely going to be doing the same. Of course, that monk picking up the 40 coin treasure there. This one's going to continue gathering wood. So Sam going to be pretty happy about that. Going to be laying down an extra shrine out of this wood, possibly 2, if he can collect for it.
Yep, definitely going to be good for him. One other thing I want to point out as well, PrinceofKabul is using his orchard rickshaw very aggressively to scout here, get vision on these extra hunts down on the south side of the map very early on, where Sam has elected just to drop his down in the back of his base. Now, of course, Sam's berries did spawn a little bit further out front of his town center than PrinceofKabul's did, and so as a result, probably just didn't want to have to, spend as many villagers forward as few villager seconds walking to those extra berries as possible. In fact, if we take a look at how Sam's currently got them split up, he has exactly 6 on that front berry bush, and that's no accident. That is the exact number that he will need to keep on berries while he's transitioning. I fully expect those 6 villagers to stay on that berry bush through the duration of this game until it's been expended, thus having really no need to move them until he, transitions to his cherry orchards at the 10 or 12 minute mark, something like that. So there is that one small little discrepancy in the scouting early, but other than that, everything looks like it's been fairly even early on.
It's definitely very interesting to note on these sort of smaller details. PrinceofKabul going to have slightly better sort of scouting information because he's used it, sort of, as you mentioned, to aggressively scout the map, perhaps finds a better treasure, maybe gets an advantage that way. Fortunately for him, he's able to do that because his berry bush is that much closer to his town center, and there's a little bit less walking time. Here, I like how you mentioned 6 villagers on the berry bush. That's all you need to maintain villager production during transition, as you said, and all of the other villagers will be, as you can see, now aging up, switching over to wood. These ones going to stay there, as you said. Very normal things, though, don't you think, at the moment? No club rush incoming.
Yeah, nothing strange. Both players sending Heavenly Kami, completely normal. Both players making a Portuguese consulate. Maybe the one small difference is that PrinceofKabul does leave the villager on. Actually, both players leaving the villager on their Shrine Wonder. Sam taking his off now as a result of course, just happen chance and there's going to be that small discrepancy in age of time as a result, but really not going to be too much of a difference. The one other thing that I do like about PrinceofKabul and what he's doing right now is I feel like he's got a better spread to his monks. If we take a look at where his monks are spread, his one monk, especially this guy right out here in the middle of the map, is pushed much further forward, securing more hunts in the middle of the map and over towards Sam's side, which is going to allow him to in effect grab more area and get more shrines in more appropriate positions, whereas Sam's maybe a little bit more out of place. Ideally, I think Sam would have a monk, over here somewhere on this side of the map, a little bit further up, perhaps shrining up under here, or maybe even up here somewhere, so that he could, have that better split, making PrinceofKabul really have to decide where he's going to start sieging and whether or not he's going to concede the map control aspect of this mirror early on in the game. So that's a slight thing, but irregardless of that fact, Sam did have a nice little jump with that extra wood treasure, so currently sitting at just slightly more shrines. I think he's probably about a shrine up at this point, and we can see that reflected in the populations.
Yeah, exactly. He's on our 100 pop, his opponent on 90, an extra, and definitely shrine placement, very important in this matchup, something to think about, because Japan mirrors, I would say, are one of the more interesting mirrors. I like British mirrors as well, but Japan mirrors, there's a lot of contention in the middle of the map over shrines. You have to protect your shrines, you also want to be aggressive on your opponent's shrines, you also want to be getting up to the next age. That's something you want to do, sneak on up, and of course get the tech advantage and stay ahead in the game. But if you do that, you might be sacrificing sort of some control over your own sort of your shrines around the map if you slow down on making units, so you might be able to protect them less. It's an interesting dynamic, and certainly the shrine placements are very important here. But 600 wood coming out for both players, and at this point, just going to see more shrines going down. 3 barracks. Oh no, good lord. It's not. I was gonna. I
almost thought that as well. I'm like, what the? Because that's where you would traditionally build the second racks, right? But it's just the market. It fooled us both. It's, in fact, just going to be the market. And both players are going to be using that to power up their upgrades. We can see Sam has already researched the first cherry gathering upgrade, also has civil servants and blanket filters working in as well. So both players starting to power up their ecos. And very soon we're going to see, the Ashigaras start coming out in full force. And it's really going to be those second and third shipments that's going to tip the cap as to what players have in mind. We can see both players sending 4 villagers as their second shipment. And then whether or not we get into more 4 villager shipments, or whether or not we see something like 600 coin to try and age up, that's where we're really going to see the big flashpoint in this matchup as to what's going to actually happen in the first real action-packed movement that either player is going to make.
I'm looking at the shrine pop here. I mean, certainly the next shipment is going to be very telling of what they intend to do, and this is where you can start to see variation based on what they intend to do. But here's Samwise powering on ahead with his sort of shrine population, 160 currently. I'm curious to see if, yeah, Prince of Kabul does have, you know, that wood available to him. It's just sort of stored in foundations that have yet to been built. But Samwise, you know, clearly getting more shrines out, or perhaps just getting them up earlier, which is, you know, an important thing. A little bit of extra resources generated from them as a result of having them up sooner.
And I can tell here, Sam's going to ship 600 gold, and he's going to age. We can take a look. He has hard stopped his wood gather rate right now. He's put his shrines onto food, and he's generating a lot of food as a result. If he were going to continue to make units, he would not need this much food. He would want to have a little bit more golds, just due to the fact that Ashies are fairly gold heavy. But we can definitely tell that he's wanting to start to bank up some food to age. And as expected, there's the 600 coin, and we're going to see an age up as a result of that.
Yep, there it is on the floor. But Prince of Kabul electing to go with 4 villages, so perhaps intends to play a bit longer in the colonial age, perhaps take control of more shrine spots, and will be a bit slower to the fortress age, or perhaps won't go up at all, though that is less likely. Here, though, neither player protecting their shrines, actually just trading off shrines of each other's.
Yeah, for the time being, just a little bit of action going on in the middle, trying to secure some of the shrines. But we can see that, you know, both players making a fair number of units, and this is where Prince of Kabul is really going to have to make a decision, because he's either got to slam down units hard and start to realize the fact that his opponent is saving the age and really apply some pressure, or else he has to ship 600 coin and concede the fact that he's going to be aged up slightly slower than his opponent. And I'm not sure that either one of those is a super desirable situation, so we'll see what he decides to do.
It looks like Prince of Kabul getting pushed back here. Samwise has the superior military count, 21 units there compared to his opponent's 16. Could continue to push that, though, but actually, since he has sent 600 gold and knows he intends to be going up, he doesn't really want to commit to any fights or sort of engage there, since, of course, reinforcing units could be arriving from Prince. So he's going to head home, but
oh man,
I was going to say something. Never mind.
This feels a bit awkward here out of Prince, honestly. He shipped Cherry Archers
yes.
next card, which is something that's relevant, but it's a shipment too early. If you take a look at what Sam has been doing, he's been using his shrines to kind of supplement his food so that he wouldn't have to gather as many cherries from his orchard, and thus wouldn't have to ship cherry orchards, can instead, you know, ship a more impactful shipment in the third age immediately upon aging. Whereas Prince is just, I mean, he's aging himself a blade slightly slower, but he's not going to have that shipment. He's got his cherry orchard infrastructure set up, but he's not going to have a shipment. And so he's going to maybe run into a position where Sam is going to be able to send something like 2 flaming arrows or Ashigaro hit points, something like that, and is going to run into a situation where he's not going to have that shipment available, and that's going to be a very strong timing window for Samwise12 to push in and do some real damage, because not only is he going to be aged up earlier, have his upgrades earlier, at the same time he's also going to be having a fairly significant advantage in terms of an age 3 shipment that Prince of Kabul is just not going to have. And I wonder if that's not a bit of a mistake. You know, we consider the fact that Sam has been using his shrines on food slightly more, and that makes sense, right? He's got a coin mine back here. Both players have this kind of pocket coin mine that they can gather from fairly safely, and so having a second defendable coin mine isn't going to be as impactful as whether or not you need to send those cherry orchards. And at this point, Sam is aged up earlier. He's going to, I would assume, immediately slam down some of these upgrades. Yep, we can see Disciplined Ashigar coming, and seeing his shipments go immediately down, I would have to assume that 2 flaming arrows is going to be, you know, in hot pursuit here. And at that point, he's going to have the upgrades. He's going to be in a position where he can start pushing out across the map. And Prince of Kabul just feels a little bit behind at this point.
A little bit behind as well. Here comes the storm. Certainly, I'll have to see what his next shipment is. Actually, it's the 2 cherry orchards here. Yeah. So he does feel like he needs to get those down. I guess there's only like 600 food left in that orchard there. He's laid down 2 more, of course. So maybe Maybe not going to be able to squeeze in that extra shipment there. Perhaps Prince will be able to get away with this, and all this time has, had those shrines gathering perhaps more useful resources. Certainly food is a slower gathering one, and one that's less desirable to get from a shrine, which is effectively a mini factory. Either way, though, do have an engagement here. Samwise does have his flaming arrows out.
Yeah. And Prince having to engage here before his upgrade comes. Here do come to 2 flaming arrows, going to be quite impactful, but the veterancy upgrade has been in full effect here for much longer for Samwise12, resulting in him getting a pretty good trade. Going to be able to kill both of these flaming arrows quite easily with some of the melee Ashigaru, and similarly for him, his 2 flaming arrows working their way across the map, coming up here, going to be able to get into the fight fairly soon. And Sam's still got, he's still holding strong. He's got a lot of units left alive here. His monks have been soaking a lot of damage, and now when these 2 flaming arrows and the reinforcing ashes come in from the left-hand side...
Those flaming arrows are literally underwater, so...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. How do they manage to stay lit? Who knows? But look at the position all of a sudden Prince has found himself in. He is in a bad shape. He does not have a shipment ready. He has got 2 flaming arrows that he has to deal with, and he's behind in military and economy at this point. Things are not looking good. I think we're going to see a GG here pretty quick.
I think so. A very short, decisive game. Samwise exercising perhaps superior micro and just managing to pick off the edge and killing the extra unit. And if you can continue to do that, and then as a result have more units there, you sort of exponentially get further ahead. Did manage to pick off his opponent's flaming arrows quite efficiently, though we do see an 8 Ashigaru Musketeer shipment pop out. I thought they would see them head over straight towards the cannons, but actually going to get into hand combat here and actually just go. Though 5 do pop out of the barracks, they're going to engage against the flaming arrow, but at this point I think sort of the damage is already done, and you just have a lot more units fighting a small number of units, and that's never a good time. Prince of Kabul does take the loss there, does press the resign button. Fairly short game in Samwise12's favor.
Yeah, and I hate to say it because nobody wants to hear it, but honestly, Sam's role with the with the treasures early on was very influential. Having that extra shrine that much earlier, having the 50 food or having the 50 wood, the 90 wood, that extra little bonus of getting that early shrine or 2 really does kick your eco into overdrive in those first 4, 5, 6 minutes. And I think I didn't see anything that was particularly wrong with the way Prince of Kabul played. I think his build was a little awkward. He didn't drop down the dual racks on 600 wood. He started building one of the barracks before, just out of stockpiled wood, which means he's not being super efficient with the way that he was spreading out his monks and laying down shrines. But I don't know that those little tiny things were enough to make the difference or to mitigate the fact that Sam had a really nice advantage with that extra 140 wood early in the game.
What do you think, though? Just sort of a very intricate point. Do you think Sam could have gotten away with not sending the 2 cherry orchards, perhaps switch the flaming arrows and the cherry orchards around? I mean, it would have been a little bit of no food gather time, but you would have you'd have those 2 flaming arrows in that first fight. And that would have been
sure, it would have been more impactful. And so the thing you would have to consider, he would have to leave his shrines on food a little bit longer, and he would have to transition more villagers down to this coin mine where he's currently gathering in the bottom left. He did get flumen ditching very early on, which is something that I don't necessarily always get, because I tend to, in the Japan mirror, just use my shrines to gather coin when I'm trying to age up, and so I don't necessarily have a lot of villagers gathering coin, and as a result, I try and sneak out an extra shrine instead of sneaking in flumen ditching. I did notice he got flumen ditching very early, meaning as a result of that, he could have afforded to put more villagers on coin, and probably could have flipped around the order and been okay, but I think it's still safer. You're going to need those cherry orchards at some point anyways. Perhaps he could have backed off and sieged a shrine or 2 waiting for the flaming arrows and then pushed in, but irregardless of that fact, the fact that he decided to ship 600 coin versus his opponent's 4 vills was probably the more impactful shipment choice, just because, that 600 coin, not having to gather that straight up, just getting it from crates, allowed him to kind of catapult himself into the 3rd age significantly quicker than his opponent.
Yeah, 4 vills a little bit slow, but could have paid off if the game had gone on longer. That does conclude the game, though, and Prince of Kabul not getting away with it. We will now head on to game number 2. Let's see what civilizations the players have in mind. The next map is... do you know what it is?
I do have it up here. It is Hudson Bay.
Ah, which Samwise12's game is Samwise12's game?
There's so many of them. There's so many of them.
That's rather awkward. Well...
In fact, none of them are Samwise12's game.
That's true. Shall we ask him for an invite?
PrinceofKabul, it looks like, is hosting up. He just got the map selected as well, so... Sam probably just taking a quick celebratory lap around the house. Maybe grabbing a cup of tea in preparation for the second game, but...
well, you'd have the cup of tea as a well done after the...
after the entire series.
Yeah, it's not something you can do sort of in the middle of something.
I see.
It's very, very specific rules.
I see. I'm not privy to all these British rules of when you're allowed to drink a cup of tea.
Well, I just made that up, actually, but I normally, personally, won't make a beverage until I'm finished. Either with a journey
I see.
or, you know...
Hope you're gonna play now, huh? You're gonna sneak in.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Put me in, coach. Put me in. I'm ready.
Zuta, I was thinking, like, once I get this speed run done, I've almost fully optimized it even more than I had beforehand. Anyway, once I get it done, I was thinking I'm gonna play lots of AoE 3. Do you want to do the fabled Zutazuta versus Interjection series?
Best of 21.
Best of 21. Oh no, a best of 7. We'll have like a SmackDown special.
Yeah, I'm game.
All right, so we need to. That'll be fun.
The best of 21.
I'm looking for the 4-0 sweep here. I'm gonna smash you.
Yeah. Well, I've said it before. Like, once you beat my Japan, like if we play SmackDown rules, I will win a game with Japan. But my civ pool is incredibly limited. That I know for certain.
How can we make a rule right here now? If you don't play Otto, I won't either.
Sure, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of Otto. They're easy, although they are easy. So maybe I should decline that rule. Because I think I could auto-FF my way to a victory.
Comic Case says, stop saying irregardless. No, we don't say irregardless. We're saying irrespective, which is a different word entirely.
Please stop saying irregardless.
Yeah. Irrespective is the word I'm saying. India Mirror coming up, though. Neither player can play Japan. I'm not sure who initiated playing India first, and then who chose to match it. Certainly lots of civilizations, good on Hudson Bay. Germany comes to mind, but India here seems to be the ones they've landed on.
Sam can't click in XD. XP.
Chat spam XD.
Good old Samwise12. I'm really glad that Sam is playing in this tournament and actually committed some time to learning the current metagame and actually playing it at a level that is acceptable for him to be playing. Previously, every time he came back when he was still playing other games, he would play at a PR32 level and just kind of half-ass it and not really try, and then get frustrated and then stop. But here he's actually taken some time invested into relearning the new metagame and stuff like that, and as a result is
a very competitive player.
Yeah, is a competitive player.
I imagine AoE 3 for him is like riding a bicycle. You certainly do not forget how to do that. Let's get into this game. Samwise12, certainly a big name from back in the day, and let's see. Well, certainly in this tournament so far, and has since, as you mentioned, coming back, relearning the metagame, is a very competent player, just like old times. We'll have to see how far he can go in this tournament. This is the first tournament he's played in a very long time. Of course, I think the H2O I could say was sort of in a similar position to Sam was in the previous tournament. So maybe we'll see Sam in the finals. We'll see how far he can go. We'll have to see what Sam has in store for us. Also looking forward to seeing Sam play some French. I don't know why. But here we have Sam in the left-hand side of the map. Hello, boys, in the colour pink. Playing as, indeed, the Indians on this map. which is, of course, Hudson Bay. Going to pick himself up 50 coin, nice and early on. This other elephant going to head up here. Not going to find anything too interesting. Going to find himself the 25% XP HP treasure. No wood, nothing like that, which would be really quite nice for, of course, India. But Prince of Kabul on the right-hand side of the map in the color blue. Also playing as India. They did choose to make an India mirror. Not sure who initially picked India, but Samwise going to be playing mirrors, and Prince happy to take them as well. So
yeah, that's a bit interesting to me, because I mean there's a lot of people who don't like mirrors and don't like playing mirrors. I'm one of them. I'm not a very large fan of playing mirrors, and so I would try and avoid the mirror. So usually the mirror favors the more mechanically sound player, and I'm very surprised that, I mean, Sam has always been known as a very mechanical player, and I'm surprised that Prince of Kabul wants to try and challenge that style as a result. I think the best thing to do against Sam would try and be to throw some different looks at him, things that he's not really comfortable playing with. We kind of saw that in his series against Mongo 10, right? Mongo 10 did this China FF with Mamelukes that Sam didn't really prepare for and didn't really know how to beat, because he just had never seen that kind of a look before, and as a result ended up dropping 2 games to Mongo. And you know, I think that's a situation where if Sam saw that build again, he would know how to react to it, but he kind of got caught with his pants down as a result. And I think that's the kind of thing I would be looking to throw. I mean, you still want to play a standard solid style, but you can also throw in, you know, some cheeky little things that maybe he's not used to seeing, and give him some different looks that maybe put him out of his element a little bit. And I don't know that just engaging in straight up Japan mirrors mechanical gameplay, you know, where it's just going to be like executing your build order and making the correct decisions is necessarily the best way to challenge his skill set. But props to Kabul for trying, because that's something I would never have the balls to do.
Prince of Kabul, I mean, you say certainly challenging Samwise in a mirror is going to be tough. Samwise, as we said, mechanically very good. All of those sort of you know, the fundamentals of AoE 3 Sam very good at. If you throw something at him that he's, yeah, as you said. But Prince of Kabul very, very sort of strong, and I've heard a lot of him. Well, I've known him for a long time as a very strong player, and he's certainly been around for a long time, and is certainly going to be very good. He's by no means just going to roll over and die. Like, yeah, he's going to put up a fight. I think Prince of Kabul going to be capable of taking Sam on in mirror matchups. The question is, though, will he be able to perform today in a game that really counts?
Yeah. Big treasure here being picked up by Sam as well. Just want to point that out real quick.
Fortunately, though, Prince of Kabul has already found himself a 95 wood treasure as well, so this isn't going to be hugely shifting in one player's favour. Both players are going to have fairly large wood treasures, but definitely very good, the wood. And here comes a forward Vil.
Oh, yeah. That Vil maybe even sees the bears being attacked there, and is going to opt to just get down the aggro for it, not going to try and get it down. And in fact, we're going to see dueling aggros here in the middle of the map, both going down on about the same screen. So looks like we're going to see some tension here in the middle of the map early in the game, and that's going to perhaps put a little bit of a clock on us here, where we see some action early on in the game. Either that, or both players are just scared to push out and just stand behind their aggro. That could certainly happen as well.
Yeah, well, have to see. So I feel like playing defensively in mirror matchups is always slightly better. Slightly take less, unless like it's like Yukon and you're both playing Russia, in which case it is very different. But if you can like play slightly boomier, slightly safer in a mirror, you're always going to have a slight edge. If you can just sneak that tiny bit of greed in without being too greedy, it should be good. But both players doing very similar things. Obviously, mirrored aggro forts in the middle of the map, very good location, sort of near this trading post, and you know, the water could play an element. You know, certainly the anti-ship damage could be useful. Unlikely, but still there. And both players sending, you know, their first shipment within seconds of each other, which is, you know, to be, oh well.
Yeah. And similarly, their improvements are bang on, separated by like 6 seconds as well. So everything like looking pretty standard there. Hunting eagles for both players, civil servants, and blanket filters as well. So both players getting their very early cheap Age 1 market upgrades, and likely going to be powering out more of those as we progress. And I think we're just going to see 600 wood, 300 export builds out of both players. Ottoman consulates kind of seem to be the norm, and a very early tech advantage from both players. Both players just pushing their tech early in the game, getting a lot of eco upgrades. And then we'll have to see around that third or fourth shipment whether or not we start to see some variations coming in here. But for the time being, as I mentioned, both players just powering away on upgrades.
Having said that, though, Samwise does have, well, Gurkha's in queue at that aggro fort. Got the one Gurkha in queue, whereas currently Prince of Kabul not training any units at all. We'll have to see, well, what unit he chooses to train, or if any at all. What do you think at this point?
He could just be waiting to see what his opponent's going to train. There's a Sepoy. The Sepoy is a little bit safer just because
cancelling the Gurkha, Samwise, unless it's been created.
No, I think it's probably
no, you got two Gurkhas.
Oh, yeah, he got two Gurkhas. Yeah.
They're going to be quite useful versus his opponent starting Sepoy then. You say it's safer, though, to start Sepoy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the two Sepoy, if there was something weird going to happen, like force hours, or say your opponent was like going to start cav or something weird like that, it's always, quote, safer to start muskets just because they don't have as hard of a counter in this game. It doesn't really matter, though. I mean, your Sepoy count isn't going to make that much of a difference. What it really is going to come down to, likely early in the game, is whether or not you have, you know, the extra food or the extra coin. The extra coin can be used for upgrades a little bit more easily, so that could be an argument for why you would perhaps want to get Sepoy's training instead, just due to the fact that you're going to preserve a little bit more of your coin early in the game. But the Gurkhas are going to be better in the long run.
Yeah.
The Sepoy's maybe a little easier on your economy early in the game. Doesn't really matter, though.
Wow.
Regardless, you're going to want to be... You're going to be wanting to train Gurkhas and Zams at some point in this game, and we can see both players reflecting that with their consulates and stables coming down now.
Both players getting a stable down, you say. I noticed one, certainly from Prince, does have that down and in queue. Not got any cavalry yet, but certainly will have soon, whereas Samwise... Oh, he does have his stable down.
Yeah, his stable's right here.
He's got
his Zam.
I was looking like totally in his base, but I was going to say, you know, if his opponent has cavalry out pretty soon... then, you know, at least if there were Sours, that would be quite good versus the Gurkha. But actually, both players going to be training Zambrex. To be expected, the sort of...
Yeah, the anti-cav, the traditional safe combo of Dragoon Skirm, like that's always going to be like the safest combo in this particular. Plus, they do give you the option to stop any sort of raiding shenanigans as well, right? If there's 4 Sours running around your base, 5 Zams is going to be able to deal with that quite easily, and as a result, going to make those Sours look a bit foolish. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice to make Sours early in the game, and we can see that Prince has rolled those dice, and that maybe kind of signals to me he's ready to make a play. If we take a look at the shipments, he did ship Sours. Yeah, I think he wants to push. I mean, you wouldn't ship military units in this matchup if you didn't have intentions of pushing.
And that's the first variation in shipment order. Everything else, aside from a couple of market improvements being swapped in different orders, it has been the same. And this is the first major variation. We see 4 Sour shipment, where his opponent sends foreign logging. Prince of Kabul now establishes himself as the aggro, and Samwise playing defensively. But here, the Minutemen being called out, and the aggro fort defense here forces Prince of Kabul running backwards. Gonna have to wait for the Minutemen to sort of die a bit before he goes back in. And actually, I think, you know, Samwise is probably feeling pretty good with his sort of stronger economy. If he can sort of weather the 4 Sour shipment, he's got this foreign logging behind him for the rest of the game. Well, a bit longer than his opponent if he chooses to not send it a bit later on.
Yeah. The one other difference here is Prince of Kabul is very soon going to have 400 export, which is going to mean he's going to have those Hussar coming out, and immediately we can see he does like instantly queue them the second he has the 400. So he is going to have those 4 Hussar and is training more Sowars as well. So I think he's still itching for a fight here. I think he's actually feeling pretty good that he was able to force the European Minutemen pop from the Ottoman consulate, knowing that his opponent now won't have those cav in the next fight, and could potentially push in here with a fairly scary force and make use of these 3 Hussar that he's going to have, that his opponent most definitely is not going to have.
That's true. Gardner Hussars effectively sort of in between veteran and guard. They're not quite either, but does have one hell of a power spike, considering he just sent 4 Sours and these 3 extra cab. Doing a lot of damage, good positioning on the Gurkhas here, doing a lot of damage, and of course all this, the Zambarek's taken melee damage from a couple of the Sepoy there, and all these Gurkhas in the back, focusing them down. Looks like a batch of 4 Sours do come around the back to even it up, but I think PrinceofKabul got a very, very good trade.
Yeah, he really did. The saving grace for Sam there is that he did get his Sours out wrapped around the edge, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. He does have 5 more Sours coming in, but those couple Sepoys really wreaking havoc in the front lines for Samwise12. He's taking a lot of damage from those melee units, and now we can see PrinceofKabul has a very commanding lead as a result of that push.
Sort of timing push there around the shipment of Hussars and the Sours, and here just the foreign logging not cutting it, the extra units and the positioning of PrinceofKabul, you know, his play during the fight really shining through, showing that he is, you know, a good player and knows what he's doing when it comes down to fighting, and the extra units really useful, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not quite on board with standing here and sieging. I feel like he could just age up behind this. He's got a lot of food and he shipped 600 coin. Electing instead just to continue to make units, he probably can win in this regard as well, but I feel like it would just be safer to not be standing underneath the aggro fort, not risk getting like caught by some sort of unit shipment or getting poked down.
These Gurkhas and other units shooting you whilst they're sieging it down, taking a bit of unnecessary extra damage hit, and the aggro fort itself doing a lot of damage, yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel like it would just be safer if you just backed off and aged up, but it looks like he's going to push in and try and force a big fight here.
That's right, lots of Sours. Let's take a look at the military tab. Currently has 9 Sours compared to 4. Has, you know, PrinceofKabul clearly leading in this fight here in 30 military pop versus 6 here. Just absolutely spanking Sam down. Though 5 more Sours join the fray, but it looks like he has enough Sours of his own, really, to deflect that and stop them getting around, wrapping around his skirmishes. Aggro fort is fairly low, and that is, of course, why the fight happened. Samwise does not want to lose that and was forced into a fight there. It looks like PrinceofKabul coming out on top. Now going to take this down and the stable. This line of play worked out for him. I can see, you know, your logic with the aging up. Certainly, it's very safe. Your opponent will want to make, I guess, continue making units, and then you age up. You have the tech advantage. But here, this worked out. Yeah,
it worked out, and he's going to be able to get the aggro fort down just by brute forcing it. One more little desperation pop of units from Sam. I don't think it's going to quite be enough. He's kind of got a couple of the Saran. Okay.
Oh, your roomie. Rajput. Whoops, I got the wrong word.
your roomie would be insane. But no, it's just going to be a couple of Raj, but it's still just not going to quite be enough. I mean, he's able to get in there. He does have a couple Sours left, but I still think that, you know, Sam is just so much on his back foot. Once this next little threat has been dealt with, there's still plenty of units to finish sieging down the aggro fort here, and I don't see any way back into the game here for Sam. I don't think he's going to be able to pull together enough units to actually deal with what Prince currently has. Does get out one more batch of Gurkhas,
just
a couple
before
more
the
Sours,
aggro fort dies. Oh, that was lucky. He wouldn't even have those, but no longer has the aggro fort. At this point, both players fairly even economies, so, you know, it's not down and out just yet, but he has lost his aggro fort, which is a barracks and a fairly, you know, important key build, well, a fairly big building that's, without it, you certainly, you know, you don't have that sort of forward defense.
And without the tempo now, like, these 2 locations become very difficult to defend, because not only does he have to continue to defend his base and defend the architecture that he's rebuilding back in his base, but he's also got to worry about, you know, what happens if 5 Sours decide to take a trip down, you know, down south and find out that I'm gathering coin with 15 villagers down here. He's going to have a bad time down there as well. So certainly things looking very, very good for PrinceofKabul at this point, even calling the Ottoman Minutemen to just bolster his army at this point.
I guess when they're spawning from the mid-map aggro fort, they're actually pretty good. Being used defensively. I mean, they're designed to be defensive because you don't want to walk them across the map because they lose HP, but here, close enough to work, and you still have to shoot them. 1 HP, they're still alive. They're still golden. providing they're alive. Yeah, but here, just taking out the aggro fort and the stable here, pushing forward into all of this infrastructure. Samwise having to replace what he's lost, so getting further behind in that regard. Though, having said that, economy's still even, and actually, each player's military count is fairly even. I mean, PrinceofKabul still has the tempo lead for sure, but if if Samwise stays alive, like he's still able to replace his units at the same rate as his opponent, and as they continue to make more units, their armies in terms of percentage size will get closer and closer to being even.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned that Prince hasn't decided to age up behind this. I mean, this would have been a golden opportunity for him to age up, get a tech advantage, and get some of his upgrades rolling, get veterancy upgrades on his age 2 units, get something like 2 siege elephants to begin really forcing the issue in terms of knocking down buildings, maybe work in Urmi or a couple Mahouts or something like that, get something a little bit more definitive in terms of tech, but instead just opted to continue to try and fight it out in age 2, and I don't know that that's necessarily to his advantage at this point in the game.
Look at this fight. Let's take a look at the military tab so we can see their units there. 30 Zambaraks, PrinceofKabul has 32 Gurkha versus his opponent who has no Zambaraks, 2 Sours, 15 Gurkha. You just see there's so many units here just tearing through. These cucumbers they will be GG. Sorry, cucumbers.
And I want to make one point about Sam's card order here as well. I had a discussion with him maybe a week ago about what we thought was the better build order for India, and we both kind of agreed on the fact that sending foreign logging early in the game was usually a losing play because you just kind of got overrun. You didn't have enough time to really get up the military, and it was just a little bit too weak. Like, it was good economically, and if you're playing in a very economical matchup, then it was maybe okay, but I think we both kind of agreed that against any sort of timing pressure that it was probably fairly weak. And I think we saw that this game. Like, if you take a look at what PrinceofKabul actually sent, like, the very early 4 Sour forced the Minutemen call, which he was able to easily disengage from. And then from there, ramping up with the 3 Hussar shipment from the Ottoman consulate really put a lot of pressure on Sam. And he just didn't have the military shipments in time to deal with it. And as a result, lost that first fight and kind of lost his aggro fort, just lost kind of the tempo and the aggression in the middle of the map, and Kabul was able just to roll him over from there. So I'm curious that he decided to send that, despite the fact that, we had a conversation where we both kind of agreed that it wasn't necessarily that great of a card to send.
If you think about it, I can certainly see that as well. Look at foreign logging as a card. How much wood does it give? Like 1.25, is it?
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 villagers worth.
Yeah, I mean, like, you compare, like, think of 4 Sours and how much that costs to actually train. Like, how much resources that is worth. And then think, how long does it take foreign logging to generate the same amount of villager seconds that the 4 Sours instantly gives you? It's clearly the tempo play, and it's what, by looking at this graph, you can see, like, the outcome. Prince, in that first fight, came out on top, starting with, 46 units, and well, you can see the fight there. But it's also looking at the all resources gathered graph. This foreign logging, did put Sam ahead in the early game, but really not by much at all. Like, this graph is still very close as you expect to be in a mirror. Like, perhaps the advantage it gives you isn't the tempo is more valuable.
Indeed, yeah, and I think that we kind of had come to that conclusion, and I'm still surprised that as a result he still decided to send it. So maybe thinking that Prince was going to try and do some sort of age-up play and thought he could just be greedy with it as a result and kind of just get away with it. But Prince not allowing that, playing aggressively, and was able to push him back and do some pretty lasting damage. So well played by him, to be perfectly fair.
Who's hosting?
Samwise12 is hosting. There's currently someone in your slot. In fact, there's like 50 Samwise12's games. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including the one that is
just some guy who has no idea what this tournament is. It's like, Samwise12's game? Who's Samwise12? This guy's got a lot of people trolling him. Don't want to be Samwise12 right now.
I have a screenshot from back in the day where There's a full page of Samwise12 games. Like we used to troll him like that quite a bit. There was like and I remember there was like, no, it wasn't all Samwise12's game. It was Samwise like 10 through 19's game. So it was like Samwise 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14.
Oh,
15,
guys,
16.
can you set that up? I don't want to see Samwise12 anymore. I want to see, by the end of the next game, I want to see Samwise12, 13, 14.
Samwise 1 through 20's game.
How high can you get the number without without duplicates and without, like, skipping a number?
Yep.
I want to see that for the next one, but...
That's your new goal.
Game number 3 coming up. The score is 1-1, shaping up to be a series. We're going to see at least 4 games in this series, possibly more than that, because clearly from this, early on we can see the players are fairly evenly matched. 2 mirror matchups, one going to one and one player to the other. Prince of Kabul switching to China. Neither player can play India since they both just played it. Prince of Kabul going to be the player to make the first change. Going to play China on the next map, which is Tibet. We'll have to see what Sam elects to do. Perhaps a China mirror.
Yeah, I expect China mirror. I expect China mirror to be perfectly fair. It's a really good civ on this map, and I think Sam is just going to be most comfortable playing mirrors. He doesn't know like the intricacies of all the matchups like in the current meta, and I think he'll probably just feel most at home playing mirrors, and it's a good civ on this map, so I don't see why he wouldn't choose that.
Certainly, all the chokes. If you're playing like a civ that isn't China, you can make walls. Certainly good.
Yep.
There's the extra livestock dynamic.
Sure. And there it is. There's China selected, so looks like we're probably going to see. Looks like we're probably going to see a China mirror.
China mirror incoming. I'm going to ask him. Because red and orange are rather similar.
He may be like wanting that, or okay, there he goes. Some people have like very specific colors that they like to play because that's just what they're used to. So
yeah, I always play as purple, and I can play as other colors. Certainly in quick search, I have to, but in a team game or a game with more than just 2 players, I cannot play as anything other than purple. Especially if there's another guy who's purple, I just end up clicking on his TC on the minimap and thinking like, what the hell? I didn't tell my units to do any of this. But we do have game number 3 on the way. Our third mirror, China mirror. This is a true test of sort of micro. You have so many different unit types to control once you both get up to the Fortress Age, which is indubitably that's the word you taught me yesterday, I think. Going to be. I was about to go off on a sort of a linguistic discussion about how people learn words quickly and incorporate them into their sort of mental lexicon, but I'm not going to do that because this is a game of AoE 3. But I'm using that word, so that's good. But yeah, there's so many different unit types, and it's going to be very interesting to see who has the better unit control over the very large armies that both players will have in this China mirror.
Yeah, the real question, though, does one of them take the chance and try and roll mams? Because that is specifically what Sam lost to when he played the China mirror against Mongo 10. Mongo 10 built a mercenary hall, rolled Mamelukes, and Sam was 100% not prepared for it. And then like 6 Mamelukes or 8 Mamelukes showed up at his doorstep, and he had no idea what to do. And to be fair, China doesn't have a super hard counter to those aside from shipping Manchu, and Sam was playing a deck that did not have Manchu incorporated in it. So 2 things I look to see in Sam's deck this time around. One, whether or not he has 9 Manchu incorporated in his deck. I think he most certainly will, due to the fact that he basically lost a game previously as a result of not having 9 Manchu in his deck. And 2, whether or not either player tries to take the chance and see what kind of mercenaries they do have in the mercenary hall. So we'll see whether or not that plays into an effect.
Certainly Samwise does have, well, I was about to say he does have Manchu in his deck, has learned his lesson, but has not selected a deck yet. He's about to get his first shipment. No doubt we'll see that deck selection. We'll see if the 9 Manchu are in there. Nope. Nope.
No Nine Manchu in his deck.
Perhaps he hasn't learned his lesson. Maybe he hasn't edited it. I don't know. There was a little bit of early play though. We saw Samwise picking up 85 wood, but Prince had his monkey nearby, and he managed to get that disciple on 8 HP. Had he been killing that treasure guardian any moment longer, that disciple would have gone down. But getting the monkey out of there before that monk cleans him up.
Yeah, a couple good treasures there for Sam. Picking up a 75 food treasure as well and an 85 wood treasure. Definitely going to help him in his early game. We can see Prince is picking up an 80 food treasure of his own right now, but definitely a nice little advantage there for Sam, especially not having to chop as much wood for the extra village, and that's really going to be quite nice for him early on here.
Incorporate that into his... That always feels so good when you find like a wood treasure like that. And you can incorporate it into your early, your very early, when you're collecting a relevant amount of wood, say for an extra village or for like a specific hunting dog's upgrade. Yeah, so he's going to be very happy about that. It's going to feel really nice. And look at the difference in terms of villages queued. Though Prince does have 2 villages in queue, so he's got 800 food. Samwise about to click up, whereas Prince only on 500 if you add the extra 100 from the villager he has in queue. But Sam's still ahead there as a result of those treasures that he's found. Very, very nice stuff for him indeed.
Yeah, and that's a bit of an artifact as well to not only the treasures, but also to the hunt placement underneath the town center. Sam doing a really good job of getting his hunts right up next to his town center, which you can see Prince's have been spread out slightly more and a little bit further away from his town center. So really good early game macro, and in fact, Sam was able to age up at 16 population as a result. So almost one full population, one full village early, which is really going to springboard him into the 3rd age nice and early as well. So definitely a nice little advantage there, and we'll see whether or not that has any lasting impact on the flow of the game here, and as both players age up.
I think it will. He's 1/3 of an age up ahead, 33%. Yep. You mentioned an entire villager in a China mirror. If I know anything about sort of fast fortressing, which was Spain was one of my favorite civs on vanilla, and I know personally how much of an impact sort of having an extra 25 seconds over your opponent in a mirror matchup, in a fast fortress mirror matchup, really is. That's an entire shipment of units. You'll be ahead of your opponent, and you think how impactful a 1,000 resource equivalent unit shipment is in a fight if your opponent doesn't have it for an extra 25 seconds. You can make quite a lot happen in that time, and he's going to be very happy indeed going into the rest of the game with that under his belt.
Yeah, and it's just even more amplified at a high level, right? The better the players are and the more crisp they are with their timings, and the better they are at identifying, like, here I have some time to actually push in. I know I got aged up earlier than my opponent. I know that he can't possibly be sending a shipment until, this certain time. It just amplifies, the effects of what you're actually able to do with your timing pressure, and certainly could be something that Sam could have in mind here as he works his way to the 3rd age. Certainly, both players FFing. We can see both approaching the 700 coin needed to combine with the 700 coin shipment. Definitely going to be aging up at this point, and from that point forward, it's going to be an arms race to see who can get out those shipments and who can get control of the map and the remaining resources and really establish some dominance in the 3rd age.
Absolutely. 700 coin on the floor, as you pointed out, plus the 300 he collected, has almost all of the food he needs to go up. For those of you who are perhaps wondering, like perhaps you're newer to the game or newer to the stream, you're not quite sure, we've been talking about all this time, and they're going to have armies in the Fortress Age. What? Yes, they're sending sentinels straight up to the Fortress Age. That is their agenda here, and just going to be spamming military units from all of the resources they have, and of course the extra shipments that they'll have access to. That 700 coin arriving a bit sooner for Sam. You can see it's only really just arrived for Prince, and because he managed to get to Colonial faster, 700 coin arrives faster, and he'll be up to Fortress faster and have his unit shipments out faster. All of these things are,
They're all quite relevant. And another thing I really like, look at Sam's building placement here as well. Combined with the positioning of the coin and just the posturing of his villagers on the backside of the coin mine, everything in his base is 100% completely safe. He has to worry zero about any sort of cheeky cheese. Like there are some weird builds, where like some people send like 9 step riders or something like that, or 7 step riders, sorry, and try and do like some sort of semi-FF. Doesn't have to worry about any sort of shenanigans whatsoever, just due to the building placement and his resource placement. So everything looking really good. Both players aging up now. although Sam, as we've mentioned, is about 20% in the lead in terms of age up. And once again, you pointed out the shipment timing. There comes his 700 wood. His War Academy is going to go down a little earlier. His Consulate's going to go down a little earlier. His Market's going to go down a little earlier. Everything's going to be a little bit earlier. And as a result, Sam looking to be in a pretty good spot right now.
This is an interesting point. When I first got Age of Empires 3, whilst we have a moment before the action takes away, shipments to me felt like a small bonus that you had on the side with your economy, but at top level Age of Empires 3, it really shows like shipments are incorporated so hard into your build order that it's just like that 700 wood, like you account for having it even though it hasn't arrived. Like I just think like the home city shipment mechanic in Age of Empires 3 adds so much depth to the game and makes it, well, it's the reason it's my favorite RTS.
It's very dynamic for certain. I mean, you have to like realize like it doesn't have to be 700 wood, right? It could be something completely different. Now 700 wood just ends up being the best choice in this particular instance, but there are, you know, like you mentioned, there's a lot of strategical choices you can make around those shipments. A little bit of action here. Both players.
Yeah, a little bit of a skirmish in Prince-of-Kabul's base. Both players getting some shots off with their choker-news. A couple of pikemen low for both players, but just doing a little bit of early damage here and when they can and trying not to... Well, Sam doesn't want to overstay his welcome. Certainly, Prince up to the next stage as well, and no doubt will have a military shipment arriving very, very soon to clean this up. So he's done a little bit of damage, now going to head on out of there. But both players now up to the fortress age. This is where the game truly takes off.
Yep, and we can see Sam's already got one batch of Territorial Army out. He's following it up with a batch of Forbidden Army, which of course is the cavalry units that can be trained from the War Academy. And both players are actually opting for Forbidden armies coming up next. The one thing that does make me a little concerned is Prince of Kabul's consulate was a little bit late.
Yeah, only just researching British now, about to be hit.
So, but as long as he's got that tech coming in by the time that the fighting starts, he should be fine. But looks like the fighting is going to start very, very soon.
Of course.
Interventioned redcoats have been sent by Samwise12, and it looks like the time to fight is going to be now.
Is nigh. It has arrived here. The British consulate, of course, very needed because of the plus 10% hit points. I think that's right. But here the fighting is underway. The anti-cavalry getting close here, so he's going to get them back.
And there's just so many units just like all jammed in there, and this is where you mentioned like it can be really a cluster and who's controlling their units the best and getting the most efficiency out of this. And things are looking pretty good here for Sam. Looks like he got most of the cap. Well, actually, things are looking to be about even. Prince doing a good job of navigating around the Explorer of Samwise12, which has been in cover mode this whole time. Looks like Sam did kill Prince's monk, but as a result of that, is going to have to be forced back a little bit, just due to the fact that his army size is suffering a little bit because he did waste so much, well, not wasted, but used so much of his energy killing that monk. Of course, that monk has 1,000 plus hit points.
Yeah.
And when you consider into the fact that you can make him take 50% less damage by flipping him into cover mode.
So stupid. So good.
It's so many hit points that Sam had to burn his way through there.
For me, that feels like... I've been playing speedrunning the campaign recently, trying to do it as fast as possible, and for me, that feel like starting with this monk feels like starting with the ridiculously overpowered heroes that you get in the campaign. Like, that's what it's sort of comparable to. But as a result of that, at this point in the game now, Prince of Kabul about 3 or 4 units up. Not a huge deal, but no longer has his monk, which you can compare, I suppose, to the lost military units there. Very, very even things at this point. It's like Sam is a whole, like, 1 extra villager up this entire time, perhaps as a result of being up earlier and all of that stuff. But maybe that'll, impact for the rest of the game. It is 1 extra villager, but just waiting on military shipments and their choices in military shipments.
I do also want to point out that Sam had his market up significantly earlier, and time.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Sorry. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. My mic did that thing where it like does weird thing, it does weird things. Yeah.
I was going, no, Sue, oh no.
No, I'm here. It's just.
I thought we were gonna have a tragic moment.
No, it's a good thing I'm not streaming because like this would be the point where if I were streaming, it would the sound would like completely cut out on the stream, so that would be really annoying. But It's just a little bit annoying for me, but it's no big deal. But one thing, what I was pointing out is Sam has had significantly better market upgrades this entire time. In fact, has been working with Imperial bureaucracy now for quite some time, so does have that little bit of an advantage going for him. So economically, the longer this game goes, the better things are going to get for him in that regard as well.
Yeah, definitely with the upgrades, in addition to that sort of extra villager he has as well. But still, you know, those upgrades do mean he has less units a little bit earlier on, and he's also lost a couple of units in that first encounter. If Prince of Kabul, you know, with the couple of extra units he has as a result of all of these things, manages to come out well in this fight, those market upgrades could be completely useless to him. We'll have to see what happens here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like everything's pretty good for Sam, once again eliminating the scout very early on. Getting his cab in a good spot, and I really think this is actually a pretty good spot for Samwise12, coming in with more redcoats from the side. A good spot for them to be, killing all of the cavalry really well, and I think Sam's in a pretty good spot here. I think if he just disengages with some of his cab, doesn't lose too many of them, and continues, well, hell, he can just continue to fight. He still has his monk there in the front lines doing a lot of damage, soaking a lot of damage, just allowing his infantry to rain terror from behind, and really good spot for Samwise12. And, you know, as I mentioned, behind this has a really strong economy, and looks like he's going to be able to clean up this army quite nicely and push and power his way on through.
Oh, wow. He really powered through there. I was anticipating a much more even fight and at least a 20-minute game. Yeah. But, you know, could still happen here. He's not over just yet, but Samwise, you know, a whole 15 units up in terms of military population here. Prince of Kabul fighting this fight with significantly less units, and that is never a good time. Does call the sentries, certainly going to be useful, but here, I think Samwise just going to power on through, just going to ignore the fact that the sentries have been called, just clean this up, and then force the villagers gathering here on this wood here into the town centre, and all of the other villagers on the map, such as the ones on this coin, would be not able to gather since he doesn't have any military presence to protect them. That is the end of the game, though. GG.
Yeah, a big part of that was Sam's flanking redcoats. His new redcoats coming from the consulate were in a really good spot and were able to immediately get into melee position, which really did quite a number on Prince's cav that were in the top side of that fight as well. So the good positioning of those was quite impactful. They're asking for one of us to leave, I guess. Thing is, I'm almost positive that it's Prince of Kabul lagging, just because I see him as like brick yellow. Look at the chat browser, it's so good.
All right, yeah. Let's have them test it without us and see if it's any better.
Yeah, can do. Samwise69 666 11
order it by
12,
game name.
88. Samwise Gay's game.
1, 2.
Samwise Pie's game. It's so good.
Wow, good job, guys. Samwise Leets game. 1337.
It's so good.
Yeah, I had my FPS counter, and my FPS counter was about 60, between 60 and 90 the entire time. Sometimes it dipped to about 50, but that's not me lagging. I am the one streaming this, driving the camera.
Yep.
Let's have them test it. I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my OBS open on the side as well, running in preview mode to see what my FPS is. My FPS is fine. My internet connection is fine. The only issue that I see, I mean, I have seen at the start of the games that Prince he's like just solid yellow. Everyone else is like completely green. What color have you been seeing him?
I've been seeing him flick between green and green-yellow. Yeah.
Which makes me think that it's probably just his internet connection. But I mean, it's his tournament life. It's his prerogative. If he wants to go with no casters, then I guess that's up to him.
Yeah, that's fine. We can always cast the games from the replays as well. I've turned the stream quality down as well, but I don't think that my stream quality is impacting them at all.
Sure. Where's Prince of Kabul from? Do you know?
Finland.
Okay. Then I guess I mean, me being the American, the odd man out, it probably would make sense for me just to step out anyways. If he's concerned with like, because I mean, obviously having 4 connections that are spread out is going to impact the networking aspect of this game even more.
Maybe get Musket Jr. in here. Be nice to cast with Musket Jr. instead. He's British, so connection is within Europe.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if Prince just has a poor internet connection, then nothing is going to remedy it. So. I'm just gonna ask him what his, like, I want him to do like a speed test. I'm gonna do a speed test quick and make sure like my internet's not doing weird stuff.
Do a speed test to a server in Finland.
To a server in Finland.
Yeah. It's the Scandinavia on the far right.
I know where Finland is. I have 124 meg down right now, so
How many?
that's certainly 124 megabits.
What? I have.
Yeah, I pay a fairly astronomical price to have ridiculously high speed internet, so that this kind of thing won't ever be my fault. Specifically, so this kind of thing will never be my fault.
I'm gonna all right. If anyways says there's no point doing this because I'm just pinging a server outside my house. Of course, my ping's gonna be good. But all right, let's go to Finland. Let's do this one. God, I hope that's Finland. I know it is though, so that's good.
Which one are you doing?
Just the one dead center.
I'll do that one as well. See what my ping is to that server.
I got 75 ms ping to that particular one.
I have 132.
But that's still playable, right? 50 is optimal. Anything less than 50 is incredible.
Yeah. I still have 20 download speed to there as well.
It's still less than 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, which I have 132 ping to Finland. Not. The thing is, that's the thing. If he has a poor internet connection, it doesn't matter what our internet connections are. Like, it's going to be his internet connection limiting us.
I hope he's Finnish, otherwise he's just going to be like, what? What? Why is that relevant?
Why are we doing it to Finland?
It's like, okay, let's try a different server. What is the capital? God, I should know this.
Helsinki.
That's it. Now you say it. Is there a server? I guess it wouldn't. Oh, I don't know. It was a lot better.
What's your internet speed? Just click the button and tell me the number. He just said, I do have some random lag spikes sometimes. Just click the button and tell me the number, dude. It's not that hard. Go here, click the button, and tell me you're down. This guy just click the button. Suited casting from the basement of a Fortune 500 company.
I got a 47 MS ping now to this server. Alright, well I don't think it's me.
Yeah.
But again, these aren't foolproof and these really don't say anything a lot of the time.
Well, so the thing is, right, it's a P2P networked game, and so I have to send the data on my computer to him, and he has to send the data on his computer to me. And so even if I can send my data to him ridiculously fast, the fact that he has to send those same packets back to me, if he doesn't have an equally fast and secure connection, then it's going to be me causing the issue because his internet's not going to be able to handle it, like sending me the connection. Yeah, so his internet is.
We could do screen share out on Skype.
Nah, it's not worth it, honestly. Like, I mean, it's up to him. If he doesn't want me in the game, that's fine. I'll just sit out and you can just cast it. But otherwise, it's up. It's up to them. If they want me to sit out, that's perfect. I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, okay, so it looks like we're just going to do one caster. Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'd rather do two. Like, should we cast from the Rex?
But it's not much fun. I mean, there's only like one game. It's only one game left. I mean, it would be fine like to do this if we didn't already like know the situation, but I mean, I think we should. I think the best case, the best thing to do is either to have just you cast by yourself and just finish out the series, or else we both cast and we play with the leg. I think those are the two options. Alright, so I think you're just gonna fly solo.
Alright.
Alright, if you're okay with that.
Oh, I'd rather not.
Well, then you need to talk to either Prince or Mito or an admin, because there's like I'm not gonna force him to play with me in the game. Like it's not a nice thing for me to do. So.
Yeah, no, I don't expect you to do that. Oh crap, I clicked out of the game.
You see that a bunch of people have started making Frodo 12's game. Frodo 13's game. Poor Sam.
Alright, I do need to go to the loo real quick, and then we'll return and get this underway. I'll be right back. Alright, we have returned. Going into game number 4 in this best of 5 series. So this is potentially match point for Samwise12. If he does win this, he'll take the set 3-1. But as we can see from the India mirror, certainly PrinceofKabul, a worthy opponent. We'll have to see what happens here. But our 4th mirror of the set, Germany versus Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sunday stream. Perhaps if you're watching this as a VOD or you're tuning back in on Twitch, we do have Samwise12 spawning as the Germans in the south of the map in the colour green. Starting with 2 food crates, a wood crate and a coin crate. So no easy early trading post, but not going to be perhaps quite as influential or as interesting if it were a different Civ he was up against, of course, when he's up against his opponent, PrinceofKabul, also playing as the Germans. They'll have the same crate start, and as a direct result of that, it's going to be completely fair. The fact that neither of them can get that early trading post is just a non-issue. I mean, certainly both players would like it, but if neither can get it, is of course completely balanced. So, German Mirror, of course, is largely played out in the Fortress Age. Unlikely to see any sort of... Well, actually, having said that, I have seen quite a lot of sort of... I haven't done a solo commentary in ages. Perfect. Alright, so I guess it was Zuta's connection. Alright, well, Sam picking up 90 wood by the looks of it as one of the treasures he's found. Certainly going to be quite useful. Definitely doesn't mean he's going to be... If he'd found it a bit sooner, actually, he could have laid down a trading post. I mean, only 10 extra wood he'd have to have gathered to get it. And, well, actually, he'd have to build a house as well, but still, 90 wood. Going to get the hunting dogs. Both players going to go for a market, though. So anyway, as I was saying before, I was wondering if the game was recorded or not. Of course, we want these sort of saved on the ESOC community site, so they are there to be watched as recorded games if anybody would like to sort of study what's going on a bit more in-depthly. I'm not sure if they are. They didn't really reply. But Germany, a civilization that traditionally likes going up to the Fortress Age and seeing play in the Fortress Age, of course, has some very formidable shipments up there and has sort of the economy to match. That 2 settler wagon shipment will be arriving for both players any moment now. And of course they have sort of 3 settler wagons as well. Really, really strong stuff. And of course all the extra Ulans really, really synergizes quite nicely. But German Mirror can be played in the Colonial as well. Certainly scope for that. And we'll have to see if one of the players elects to force the game into the Colonial Age. Can certainly be done. Perhaps Prince of Kabul might have that on his mind. Of course, Sam, we know, is a very strong player mechanically, and in 2 of the mirrors has come out on top. Arguably in the Indio game, it was more down to the shipment order, the reason Sam lost, perhaps not sort of the mechanics of it. But maybe Prince, because Sam is such a well-minded mechanical player, Prince might want to force the game into the Colonial Age and play it out there, where perhaps he can force Sam to alter his build if he's going for the Fortress Age. Oh, low HP Explorer there, 7 HP. Does manage to get it back home in time, though, and put some villages in to deter his opponent from sort of killing it off. Nicely kept it alive. Certainly needs it alive, really, if he's going to be laying down a trading post during transition, which, by the looks of it, is sort of where the players are heading. Currently going to grab an extra trading post. Yeah, there it is. Kabul going to lay that down. And the same for Sam. Looks like he's heading up in this direction. And still gathering wood, should have, well, hopefully enough wood by the time he gets there. But if he lost that Explorer there, it'd be dead on the floor, and of course you'd have to wait until it had 100 hit points, which would happen, after a while, and certainly you get 100 when you age up to the next stage, it would come back to life. But if that had gone down, certainly wouldn't have the trading post, and that could be, a really, really big blunder. What treasures did he get? There were some really good ones, and yeah, 90 wood is insane, but if you don't have the Explorer for that, that can be sort of influential here. Looks like Prince is just going to head straight down here. Perhaps, he knows his opponent is going to be doing something similar, going to be grabbing a trading post, and because he knows, that he's going to go and get one. Oh, takes it out before the TP is fully constructed. Just 7 HP left. And that's a really nice pickup, though. He's, Samwise gonna have to send a unit over there. This villager, losing villager seconds now, not gathering any resources, gonna go over there and get it. Alternatively, he could wait for his first shipment to arrive and send one of the Ulans over there to pick him up. But that's a long time. You might miss, an entire batch of XP. Certainly sending the villager over here, well worth it, as he can get the Explorer back to life, get this up before this XP passes, and not really be too impacted. But nicely done from Kabul there. Certainly a good thing to be doing. But both players, by the looks of it, okay, both players have different agendas in mind. We'll start with Prince, who's up at the top here, has laid down a stable and 2 houses with his wood. And by the looks of it, has just sent 3 villagers. Is gearing up for a semi-fast fortress in queue, has some cavalry, and no doubt, want to get a couple of those out, 5-ish, plus these 2 here, and do some raiding. And, as a result of that, sort of damage his opponent's economy before he heads on up to the next stage. But Samwise has elected to do something completely different here. 700 wood has come down. And it looks like he's going to have sort of a colonial age focus. I say this because, has the barracks instead going to be sort of making doppelsolders. At this point, if it sent 3 settler wagons as well and trained the barracks, you could still... But then, there's no reason to make the doppels because you don't upgrade them like you would cavalry. So this is clearly a colonial agenda here that he has in mind. It's not like all in aggressive yet. He's not sort of forcing his opponent to do something different here. If it has sort of a perhaps more forward barracks. The point I'm making, I guess, is Prince still going to find himself in the Fortress Age. Hopefully, fairly easily. We'll have to see what Sam really does. 3 settler wagons now coming out as well. Certainly a shipment you really, really don't want to skip. Ridiculous in terms of sort of what it gives you. 6 villager equivalent. Truly quite strong. Alright, so... Prince not managed to fit in steel traps or anything like that just yet. Just playing out in... I'm waiting for his next shipment, really, which I imagine would be 700 coin. He'll try and get up to the next stage. Yes, certainly collecting most of the... Oh, no, he has the barracks in the bag. So he has identified that... well, clearly he knows his opponent is colonial, saw the barracks and has seen the doppelsodners, and is perhaps concerned then. This is what I meant. Like, he wasn't, like, sort of all up in his grill with the doppels. And but, you know, Sam not going to let Prince go up to the next stage. That really wouldn't be wise of him to do. Samwise. So, in response to seeing that Sam wants to do something in the colonial age, Prince forced to lay down a barracks of his own. And actually, what I mentioned about, you know, Prince doing this to Sam is actually reversed, and we see Sam doing it to Prince here. But the stable actually taking a significant portion of damage. Minutemen are called, but by the looks of it, he just gets away. Like, the siege potential of the Doppels alone forced the Minutemen pop, as you can see. Like, if they're left to just siege that down, they would, you know, get another volley, perhaps 2 off before the Doppelsodners of his own, which he only got 3 of, came out to oppose him. And even then, only 3 Doppels against all of this. That's, you know, certainly had to call the Minutemen there to deflect, to keep the stable alive. But here, you can see, because Samwise elected to do this early on, he's, you know, had the barracks up for longer, has an extra batch or 2 even of Doppelsodners out in this first fight. And here, those Minutemen sit down. Oh, here, but the extra doppel here, like, obviously doppels are the same against other doppels, but the fact that Prince has more cav here, not going to be too good. The cav just going to melt away like crazy versus these. Of course, 20 damage, area 2 with a ×3 multiplier. Sam cleaning that up very quickly with a definitive lead now, 24 military population in terms of, you know, just sheer doppels. Just going to tear down this stable, and in Q, of course, definitely not going to, this is completely useless, this stable here. Of course, Sam has one of his own, now starting to train. But yes. This house going to be torn down as well. It does get deflected a little bit, but he could engage here. Perhaps, though, concerned about, you know, an 8 crossbowman shipment. There it is, popping out, and doesn't want to sort of get snared by these dops, because, of course, crossbowmen do counter doppelsodners with their sort of 1.3 times damage multiplier. Yeah, so gonna get out, doesn't commit too hard to sieging down this house or fighting off this sort of inferior, sort of less quantity of doppelsodners relative to his own. Doesn't engage there simply because of the 8 expo, and of course a good decision here. Though with the cavalry that he has just shipped, wherever they are, here they are, it looks like he does want to sort of come in. Of course, Cav going to be quite good against the expos, providing he can sort of not let his cavalry die to the doppels here. So he really wants that with the cavalry presence, this is going to force Prince of Kabul to keep his crossbowmen very close to the doppelsodners, or at least the doppelsodners are always sort of in front of the crossbowmen, protecting them from the cavalry. And if they are basically next to each other, like they are here in the fight, doppels with the area damage is going to tear everything to bits. So cavalry, that threat is real now. But also, it is just a military shipment. And of course, the extra pressure is nice. At this point, though, Sam, you know, has the superior upgrades, and he's forced his opponent to send 8 crossbows. Does send 700 coin, though, so not going to keep up the pressure. He's just going to drop back and age up. I was thinking in my head, this is where Zutazuta would be saying, alright, he ought to age up behind this. And that looks to be what Samwise is doing. 700 coin now coming down. Having said that, doesn't have that much food, and is not collecting that much food, mostly gathering coin here. I'll have to see if he redistributes his villages, but this could just be making more doppelsodners and continuing to push here, which actually, come to think of it, might be sort of the better thing to do. You've got such a large army of doppels, and if you drop back and go up to Fortress, your opponent has the opportunity to do the same, and doppels, I think, really become less good. The only reason they're really playable in this matchup is because neither Civ, well, his opponent Civ doesn't have sort of musketeers. But here, all of the doppelsodners clearing that up nice and quickly. And here the crossbowmen are now just going to melt away versus these 3 cav as well. 2 more joining the fray, of course, from the shipment. And let's take a look at the queue. Yeah, just more doppelsodners. I mean, what can you really make against this except more Doppelsoddeners? It does have 4 cav outs, so that sort of makes it very difficult to train crossbowmen. Plus, they cost wood and just clunky. And now that Sam has all of these extra units as a result of sort of the earlier plays, he's now in a position where he's forcing all of Prince of Kabul's villagers into the town center. Certainly has a few sort of up here, and he could head in that direction. But what's in his base is quite vulnerable, and what is in his base is garrisoned in the TC. These gonna get cleaned up here pretty quick, and if Prince of Kabul really wants to stay in this, he needs to stack the units up. But he's not able to do that right now. They're all getting torn down, and Sam is just gonna just tear apart all this infrastructure, all these houses, barracks, and all the other buildings in his base. House does go down there. Villagers returning to work. Perhaps he was desperately trying to get out an extra doppel. Just an extra unit would be... okay, so the saving grace of this, if he does somehow manage to stabilize, he has sent the sort of the 2 villager. That's not true though. Like, Sam's also done that, and if you just look at the villagers, Sam is now 4 ahead, and the score lead is definitely in Prince's favor, and because it's a mirror, it makes it very difficult to... Well, if one player's ahead and it's a mirror, there's little variation between the civs and what they can do, and it's likely to stay ahead. What can Prince of Kabul do here, though? He needs to get, there's lots of exposed villagers down here. If Prince can get a raid together and head down here and kill some villagers, certainly could find himself in a good spot, maybe some sort of miracle raid, but equally going to be very tough, because if he does have units down here, Samwise with his large army of sort of doppels and just, well, large army generally, is all this stuff in the base is going to be vulnerable. And I don't think Sam is hugely concerned. Equally though, the same is true for Prince. Yeah, hand infantry hit points is now active though, so it is worth mentioning in this fight. The red doppels are actually better, but since there are so many green ones here with support from the crossbowmen, not going to last much longer. And I feel like as if the outcome of this game, now decided, but was decided perhaps 3 or 4 minutes ago. A fairly decisive victory here. Sam playing a colonial-aged agenda with the Germany. Was expecting this out of Prince, actually, as I alluded to earlier, but that is the end of the game, and Sam does take this set 3 games, to 1. That is the end of the series. Samwise12 progresses to the quarterfinals, and Prince of Kabul is eliminated. Just reading the chat now. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I guess we should take a look at the post-game. This was really awkward for me because I have not casted the game on my own in forever. I was a bit nervous actually going into it, and I think that affected me big time. Shouldn't be. I've done this a lot in the past. Anyway, that is the end of the series. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We had a fun few hours, fun few games, but that is the end here. Enjoyed my Sunday. Specifically, got this off to work. Got this off work so I could cast these games for the Sunday stream. It's a shame that the next set, Kiljadi versus whoever it is, will not be taking place today. I believe that's happening on Monday or Tuesday. Something like that. Do stay tuned on the ESOC sort of channel to be up to date. Oh, there's me wearing a shirt, my Mameluke shirt. So what are we going? So ESOCcommunity.net. Definitely, take a look on here. They'll be on the stream schedule. Though I would like to just, is it prod? I don't know what it is, but yeah, these tournaments have a $1,000 prize pool, actually $1,100 prize pool. We have 100 of the money set aside for a small betting competition that you can still join in and do tournament bets. Here it is, but all of the money is sort of donated by the community. The first one was, the spring championship. I believe Maito and Amhai managed to get a lot of money together out of their own personal pockets. And then the next one, this particular tournament, was heavily donated by a single person. But we've managed to raise $405 so far for the next tournament, which is the winter one. Even if you just got, if you don't have anything to spare, we get it. But if you just want to chuck in $1 or $2. That's cool. And of course, everyone's names are all listed here. But yes, that is the end of the stream. I thought I'd just let you know how these are funded. It's ESOC is just a bunch of guys who like Age of Empires and set this up, and we're doing what we can with what we have available. But we don't have anyone with millions of dollars, so there is that. Alright, well, I guess that is the end of that then. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And we will see you all again on Monday or something like that for the next one. If not, then certainly the next, or every Sunday, we'll hopefully streaming these. Goodbye.